recently had a half day at Abberton Reservoir to try out a new video setup. I parked up at the Lady Hay Causeway and there were lots of ducks on the eastern shore. And at the sluice, a common gull sat and watched some Goosanders nearby diving away. The tufty ducks were also diving, but were quickly mobbed by this juvenile gull whenever they surfaced. And this one managed to steal some of their prey. It looks like some sort of freshwater mussel, possibly the invasive zebra mussel. It was having trouble eating it, whatever it was. I didn't hang around there long as I wanted to go and check out Billet's farm. Nothing to see in the field there, but as I approached the bird screen I noticed a large bird in flight and couldn't quite work out what it was, until I got a flash of white and black and realised it was the White Stork. It's likely it's the bird that's been seen locally in the area for the last year or so, which apparently has escaped from a zoo somewhere, but still nice to see. It soon flew off into the sun though, and as it flew over the hide it had flushed every bird around the farm, so I headed back to the causeway. As I walked down the road to the causeway, this kestrel hovered nearby, which is something that's always nice to see. I carried on to the causeway and stopped at the eastern shore for a proper look. A goblet was a bit distant for good footage, but these teal were not, and were joined by the slightly larger gadwall. Then a pair of mute swans arrived at this obviously food-rich corner. Apparently they had just chased off some Buick swans 5 minutes before I came back. While filming the swans, I noticed a redshank walking along the shoreline. It seemed to be picking off small invertebrates from the vegetation and the stones. But the dominant species here was the widgeon. A large group were feeding on the vegetation away from the water. But then something triggered a quick retreat back to the reservoir. But whatever triggered them, it didn't seem to concern the gadwall. I then moved along the causeway to nearer the sluice again, and watched some poachard diving for food, which would be mainly aquatic plants for this species, but also some invertebrates and small fish at times. I then ran into my friend Howard, who pointed out the great Scaup I had completely missed, as I'm used to them being far out from the causeway, and I hadn't even considered checking through the diving ducks to see if they were among them. I'm glad he did point them out, because they were the closest I'd ever seen them. As I watched, they were sleeping, and sleeping, and sleeping some more. Then the male suddenly decided to wash his beak in the water before sleeping again. I decided to try and get a photo of the Scaup and waited for it to put its head up. And waited. And in the end I decided to start filming some other ducks, but kept my eye on him. This widgeon was making its way along the wall of the causeway, feeding as it went. And some great crested grebes, which are not ducks of course, was diving for fish nearby. And after at least half an hour I managed a photo of the Scaup with its head up. I then headed over to the sluice itself. This is obviously a rich hunting ground for diving birds, as they often gather around it to feed, so it's a good spot to watch them close up. This female Goldeneye was having a good old preen when I arrived. Then she moved into the sluice area again to hunt, where I got lots of footage of her diving. It's fascinating to watch it in slow motion. great crested grebe was hunting nearby too. As well as a group of tufted ducks. These ducks mainly feed on molluscs and other invertebrates. I managed not only to get them diving, but also somehow managed to get a female emerging. One of the juvenile gulls that had been harassing the feeding ducks stopped for a wash too. Eventually the goosanders came in close to feed. Both the brown-headed females and the dark green-headed males diving to feed on fish, using their sawbill beak that has lots of small teeth-like serrations to grip onto their prey. It was great just to watch and film their behaviour for a while. Then a birder pointed out a black-necked grebe, quite a way out but getting closer. I started filming it, but then I realised I was going to be late for the school run, so I left. Of course, that evening on Facebook, someone posted some pictures of the grebe close up to the Causeway, but I'd had a good day, so I can't really complain.